J.K. Slade was a child trafficker. Human trafficking is a crime against the person because of the violation of the victim's right of movement through coercion and because of their commercial exploitation. Human trafficking is the trade in people, especially women and children, and does not necessarily involve movement of the person from one place to another. Okay.
Y'all could call me a rat, but let's make something clear. If I was a rat, Bam and Ahmed would already be in jail, and they know that.
Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine's Google Hangout. And this is part 2, Murder Doctrine Episode Part 2. The untold story of T.C. Islam, the fourth son of the Amun-Ra of hip-hop, Africa Bambaataa. Whew. So I want to make a little statement to my online stalkers, particular one stalker, Khalil Amani. I see you worried about my spelling and all of this stuff. What you need to do, Khalil Amani, is come over here and criticize this murder doctrine stuff. Because I don't care about spelling unless I'm doing something that's finite, like these shows. So you should come over here and mess with this finite stuff and see if I'm spelling or misspelling things wrong. What you say? Hopefully you take me up on my offer. Okay, people, let's get started. We're going to let the computer read.
Murder Doctrine Episode 2, T.C. Islam, the fourth son of the Amun-Ra of hip-hop.
The Amun-Ra of hip-hop, Africa Bambaataa, because it's comedic based.
Disclaimer: the Murder Doctrine series is not to glorify the murder of any individual we discuss. The Murder Doctrine series was created to show how murder, never to be confused with what the Bible teaches us, is a righteous kill, has plagued the hip-hop culture and the music industry since its inception.
And since the inception of the murder of this brother, T.C. Islam, a lot of things didn't happen. Number one, Khalil Amani had not yet went and gave an interview to Layla Wills. But Layla Wills went out to Colorado, and I believe she was going to his house. And me and Khalil was good friends back then. We was talking, and she said, I was harassing him, calling him all the time, whatever you want to say. You got it. But the one thing I did tell him was, do not let that woman come to your house. Because you see, T.C. Islam interviewed with her at his house, and he got rocked to sleep. Don't you get rocked to sleep. Put that little pea shooter you be having on you and go to a restaurant. Don't let her know where you stay. And I believe I saved that brother lives. I done saved a lot of lives out here. But we're not going to get into all that. We're here to talk about the things I want him to dissect off of here, see if they spelled right or whatever.
Now that we've got the disclaimer out the way, we welcome you all to Episode 2 of Israel Doctrine Entertainment, LLC's hip-hop series titled Murder Doctrine Episode 2, T.C. Islam, the fourth son of the Amun-Ra of hip-hop.
The Amun-Ra of hip-hop. Oh, he didn't capitalize the R. Boy, y'all don't know how much this. I love this stuff.
If you missed Episode 1 of the Murder Doctrine series featuring Tupac Shakur, then you missed how we discussed the East Coast and West Coast connections to the Universal Zulu Nation and the significant role T.C. Islam was said to have played in the lead up to the now infamous Quad Studios shooting of Tupac Shakur. Be sure to go back and watch previous episodes, as some new episodes will tie together certain events that the last episode provided information on. In this episode, we will deep dive into the murder of TC Islam and whether a conspiracy to cover up the events surrounding his murder was done intentionally by former Universal Zulu Nation members and affiliate of Zulu Warriors Security Company, the likes of people like none other than Hassan Poppy Campbell.
Son Poppy Campbell. We got some more names here. Layla Wills, how you doing? I know you probably over here watching.
Some very serious questions will be posed during this episode about TC Islam's murder and events that was going on just before and after his untimely death.
So what I want to do now, I want to switch over to another stream. We got Born Love here, affiliate of Layla Wills and stuff. She done had them on her show and everything. We're gonna put up our copyright disclaimer if we can find it. There it is. Now we can play it.
Right here, man. You know, they from Cypress in Brooklyn, Cypress Projects out in Brooklyn. That's my son. That's my big brother. That's a gunslinger. And Ty told me exactly what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was more or less they was trying to take the jury back from Pac. But Pac, being Pac, the way Pac get down, he wasn't having it. And they was mind-boggled by the fact that it wasn't the way that they planned it to be. And Pac was reaching for that 32 he had on him in his boot or whatever, and it just turned into somebody had shot him. But TC Islam did the interview with Pac, and that basically spawned everything that wound up being East Coast, West Coast thing, and you know, God bless the dead for Pac and God bless the dead for Biggs. You know what I'm saying?
So there you have it. There you have it. Mr. Love speaking for itself. So when we start speaking about Mr. Love speaking and this and that and everything in the documentation that I brought up, you won't say, I'm lying or BSing you. I never lie. I never BS. And you know I bring receipts to the table. And some people like to quote me, I bring receipts to the table. Well, I've yet seen any of your receipts. But we're going to keep going now.
I personally was subjected to a strategic lawsuit against public participation placed against me by Chicago-based journalist Layla Wills. A strategic lawsuit against public participation can be defined as an individual having false or trumped-up charges placed on them to silence them in their public influence. Another term that is used similar in the modern world of politics is lawfare, akin to the term warfare.
Warfare, people. I've been in warfare with this hip-hop stands with survivors for a long time. 8 years to be exact.
Layla Wills was said to be the last person to interview TC Islam prior to his death for the documentary Trapped in a Culture, which TC Islam's murder was said to have took place in Atlanta, Georgia on June 11th, 2017.
But what was going on June the 10th? I believe it was something that took place on June the 10th. Let's see. Do I have audio of that?
And then after this interview, a few weeks later, he gets killed. You know what I'm saying? And you think there is that connection with the Zulus because he was one of the few outspoken ones.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I spoke to him the night before he got murdered. I spoke to him, and pretty much he was crying on the phone. And to be honest with you, I was annoyed with him. I was thinking to myself, shut the fuck up, because
it's very similar to Ron Savage came out and I wanted to split his head to the white meat. Very similar to that. But no one paid attention to this stuff when it was happening. but me. That's why I got the documentations of all this stuff. Believe me, I done look deep into what's been going on. I know what's going on, and I can speak on it. That's why they want to say he has nothing to do with it. I have everything to do with it. I'm the reason that it's coming up and being talked about today. And they're right, Khalil, the gatekeeper. I ain't left the gate yet.
During the civil action against me, which was initially Layla Wills filing a stalking no-contact order, Layla Wills falsely alleged criminal charges against me, claiming that I was online brandishing firearms and threatening to harm her. The false claims against me, which led to my arrest without the reading of my Miranda rights by the officers of Cook County, Illinois, was no doubt a breach of the false statement ordinance laws in the city of Chicago by Layla Wills.
Yeah, she Jason Smolletted me. Jason Smolletted me. And she would have had to pay Chicago, Illinois money for Jason Smolletting me. She dropped the case. I'm through with this cat.
The reason all of the false charges placed on Layla Wills against me is so important to this episode is during the civil case against me, Layla Wills submitted demands that I be compelled by the court to hand over any correspondences I had involving TC Islam in Layla Wills' documentary, which at that time was Trapped in a Culture.
See, the paperwork. Do I need to bring up the paperwork? The paperwork is on my wall. But let me go on my documentations and pull the paperwork out. People, it's very creepy what then took place here. Very creepy what then took place here. A lot of things have happened to me that made me go, Remember that old song, things to make you go, make you think about what's going on, what it took place? Yes, I've been through a lot of it. Here go the documentation. We'll pull it up right now. Let me get it on the screen. Don't need that. How y'all doing out there? You don't have to speak. I know you're here to find out information you would not find out. So you see right here, all email, text, video, and any/all communication with any person regarding the homicide of TC Islam. That's why she took me to court. Khalil Money been running around here lying, saying you were stalking her. No. Take a screenshot, read all of that. All videos containing reference directly or indirectly mentioning Layla Wills in her documentary. Where the stalking at? The video containing Chicago hood rat Layla Wills shows just how much a rat she is. Where's the stalking? All emails, texts, and any/all communication with God of hip hop news censored regarding Layla Wills in her documentary. Where's the stalking at? When you read stalking, then that's what I did. That's why I was in court. That's why I got locked up for stalking. But if you can't read stalking on this paper nowhere, somebody been running around here lying and slandering my name for over 8 years. 4, all email, text, chat, and all communication with YouTube moderator Dollar Skills, Like a Black, Tawana Allen, Jaquez Thompson, regarding Layla Wills in her documentary. All email, text, videos, and any/all communication with Kevin Gillespie regarding Layla Wills in her documentary. Because that's what they use. They say I was on Kevin Gillespie channel talking about this. That it was Kevin Gillespie idea to talk about TC Islam and the murder of TC Everything is me. Nobody has ever guided me in SHIT. I am a grown man. I lead myself where I want to go. And if hell's there, me and hell got to dance. So, like I said, take a screenshot of that and look at it. And if you see stalking in there, then it was about stalking. You don't see stalking in there. When you see Khalil Money lying saying it was about stalking, please correct it. For me. Now let's get back to the paperwork on the documentary that I drew up. That I compelled him to come over here and see if I spelt everything right. Since you want to see.
The events following the murder of T.C. Islam was some of the subject matter issued in this civil case brought strategically against me in a Cook County court in Chicago by Layla Wills.
Y'all just seen the paperwork. Layla Wills' name was signed at the bottom on a false, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to get this right, forgive me. It ain't working.
Let me clarify what I always believed to be the reason that Layla Wills would demand all email correspondences I may have had at the time regarding the murder of T.C. Islam, to give the audience a proper perspective of what I believe was a setup against me by Layla Wills and the affiliate of Layla Wills or instigated by her affiliate. I must include my co-defendant in the civil case against me, California native and YouTube content creator Kevin Gillespie or Kev Gills of YouTube channels Coffee and Kush TV and Kevro University. Before we speak on Kevin Gillespie, as many of you all who have watched the Israel Doctrine Entertainment LLC YouTube channel over the years may know, this platform started a movement in 2017 using info activism on my YouTube platforms to find the whereabouts of what was reported to be a young Spanish or Latino teenage boy that stabbed Africa Bambataha and his manager Ahmed Henderson of the Universal Zulu Nation in a New York apartment in 2013. The reason for the stabbing of Afrika Bambataha and manager Ahmed Henderson was for what was alleged to be a statutory sexual assault of a minor committed by Afrika Bambataha at the time, as reported first by Straight Stumpton magazine writer Colorado-based Khalil Amani in the article, Afrika Bambataha, Gay and Date Raping?
A gay man date raping somebody, not a pederast raping a younger boy.
Now, in light of my movement, the key culprit to the question of what happened to that boy from my research came from Hassan Poppy Campbell, the alleged victim, who I believe was a co-conspirator and who also claimed that he was given a photo of the identity of the teen victim of statutory sexual misconduct with a hit order to murder the teen for Afrika Bambataha on behalf of Zulu Warriors Security Company.
After Bam got out of the hospital, to figure out what really happened, and he gave me the picture of a light-skinned Puerto Rican little boy that looked just like me as a kid. And he gave me that picture because I was going to be the one who killed that boy for Afrika Bambaataa.
Y'all heard him? Did that sound like Hassan Campbell? That wasn't no pitch voice. That's what he said out of his own mouth on his own YouTube channel. But nobody in the community act like they heard him. They got 2 ears, 2 eyes, but they didn't see no evil, hear no evil, and therefore they won't speak no evil.
Back to Kevin Gillespie and the connection to the Layla Wills civil case against Kevin and myself. My first interaction with Layla Wills was an email I sent to her inquiring about if she was aware that Hassan Poppy Campbell, who was set to be a star witness in her documentary Trapped in a Culture, has conflicting statements on being a victim of Afrika Bambaataa as opposed to what I believed was a willing participant, willing not only to cover up criminal activity for the Universal Zulu Nation, but even willing to murder for the nation as it related to minor victims of Afrika Bambaataa's sexual misconduct.
So when Layla put that Trapped in the Culture of First Gay Family documentary out, her son Camel, from what I told her, probably took a life for Bamba, but she still put that movie out there and got plenty of dollars.
To my surprise, Layla Wills responded to me and informed me that nothing that I inquired about to her was something that she was already aware of, and that she was not interested in speaking to me about her documentary or for research purposes.
No, I didn't ask to be in a documentary. I had to be interviewed.
Following my email to Layla Wills, I went about the business of my movement for the whereabouts of the 2013 victim and informing the public of the dialogue I had with Layla Wills, and this is when things began to turn for the worst as it relates to Layla Wills and the connection to Kevin Gillespie. First, to combat my commentary on Hassan, Poppy Campbell, and my speaking on YouTube platforms about Hassan Campbell and the missing 2013 victim, Layla Wills started doing interviews on YouTube with the likes of channels like Sonetter TV. Layla Wills would further go on to other platforms, particularly the Star Report hosted by Troy Star Torrain, as Star was claiming to be in support of the Trapped in the Culture documentary, having advocated for Ronald B. Stinger Savage and Hassan Poppy Campbell for coming out against Afrika Bambaataa in the Zulu Nation as victims of his sexual misconduct in 2015 and 2016.
So as you can see, things got very tricky, y'all. Things got very tricky when I told her about her son Camel not being a victim, but being the opposite of a victim, a co-conspirator. And she already had put her money in the documentary. She didn't want to hear that. I already know the stuff that's been going on and what didn't happen. You ain't been here before me. I know everything. So basically, she was telling me, I know her son was given a picture to kill the boy and everything. I don't care about the boy. And I knew she knew, because Troy Star Terrain asked the question, what happened to the boy before her son and I? They knew.
The attacks against me and my platform started off as light jabs indirectly against me and my chat moderators, calling us 85ers or people who lack intelligence, and my chat room moderators as chat rats. I knew the attacks were on me and my movement, as nobody else at the time was in opposition to Hassan Campbell online, to the extent my movement was spreading, and I would later be made correct when the false civil case was brought against me, and she included the screen names of my chat moderators who had nothing to do with her false claims of stalking whatsoever at the time.
So the moderators was stalking too? Nah, she just didn't want people to speak on her alleged murder of T.C. Islam, or giving up the evidence of where he stayed so a Zulu can fly from New York to Atlanta and take his life.
Layla Wills would further go on to speak about how the funding for her documentary Trapped in a Culture was all finances by her personally, and even made innuendo threats that for her money invested, she would be willing to do bodily harm to content creators.
Yeah, she told Sadetta, she said, nah, I won't get you killed for that, but if you mess with my money, I'll get you killed for that. And I was messing with her money. So what you think? You think she would have killed me for that little money?
The bodily harm Layla Wills said she was willing to do with any who jeopardize her investment involved using people's addresses to have someone like Hassan Poppy Campbell pay them a visit. The address games played online at that time was where she threatened to give the address of the person home Sonnetter TV used to do her interview. The person YouTuber Jabari had allowed Sonnetter TV to use his home as a studio, and this is where things align with TC Islam, Kevin Gillespie, and myself.
We spoke about it. And when they heard it, they said, oh, doo-doo. The Vatican City has the information. I'm the Vatican City. That's what they was calling me.
Following Layla Will's interview on Sonnetter TV, I began to do interviews on YouTube channels such as YouTube Creator 6 Dynasty, Tommy Sotomayor, and Kev Gills discussing the documentary and the threats made, and also how the threats made were very similar to what was claimed led to the murder of TC Islam. Following his last interview with Layla Wills for the documentary Trapped in a Culture. Layla Wills was the first to slander my platform and me when she took a photo of Kevin Gills and me and posted it on Facebook, claiming not only that she was not worried about us but how we were actually promoting her coming documentary. The slander that occurred was in the comments in the post. She alleged that I was a supporter of adults who molest minors or a supporter of underage sexual assault of minors. The slander was so blatant she doubled down answering the question about what she meant, and she responded that I was no doubt in league with or in support of pedophilia.
So, Layla Will started a blatant lie, which I will call slander. Once again, I'm a defendant. I'm not a aggressive person. I'm not going after nobody for that right now. But when we get in court and I have to defend myself, woo!
Now here is where the plot gets thick and what I believe changed Layla Wills from making posts about Kev Gills and me and acknowledging first that she did not see me or him as a threat and then pulling an about face to put false charges on Kevin Gills and me. The turning point I believe that made Layla Wills place a false civil stalking no contact order against Kev Gills and me is none other than the nationally known federal informant and witness security protection recipient Khalil Amani. Now why would I blame Khalil Amani for activating Layla Wills to place false charges against Kev Gills and me? The answer is a video made by Khalil Amani where he warned Layla Wills that her actions online involving threats of harm using addresses of individuals in unison with threats being made by Hassan Poppy Campbell were grounds to have her and Hassan Campbell the subject of a racketeering influence corrupt organization investigation. Yes, it was Khalil Amani online as a known informant claiming knowledge of the laws of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and with ties to the U.S. Marshal Service Witness Protection Program who was placing fear of being in a criminal enterprise with Hassan Campbell onto Layla Wills. The reason I believe the false claims against me was all strategic is following a dropping of the false criminal charges placed on me by the District Attorney's Office of Cook County at the behest of Layla Wills. She dropped the now easily defeated civil charges also falsely placed on me and Khalil Amani, the snitch and informant. He has made a video letting the world know that Layla Wills' whole case against me was strategic and that the goal was not to beat me in court for anything I did but instead to cause me harm by having me have to go back and forth from Arkansas to Chicago and burden my family.
And burden my family. Y'all want to see that video? Can I get a yes in the side chat? Y'all know I'm going to show it anyway, right? Let's go get it. Let me get on YouTube and find it right quick. Let me see if I can get it like this. Lord Rodney Clark, Israel Doctrine. If y'all don't know, that's Khalil Amani government name, Lord Rodney Clark. So I'm pulling it up now. Do I got it on the screen? Here we go right here.
Let me say this to you, Izzy. You're making videos about Layla Wills. I think you're a day late and $1 short, my nigga. I said you making videos trying to go at Layla Wills. I think you're a day late and $1 short, nigga. Because Layla Wills, in all actuality, played the fuck out of you, nigga. She played you like a violin. She did a goddamn Beethoven's Fifth on your ass. She was Stravinsky. She was Bach and Rachmaninoff.
At this point, remember, I just played what he said DJ K. Slay was a child trafficker. And he said, why would I come out and say that? Remember, he said I was stalking her, harassing her, stalking her. But then he come out and say her lawsuit was strategic. And he said all the other things. He's a snitch. He'll snitch on the people that he worked with.
She played you like a violin, nigga. Oh yeah, she did. I hear you talking about how you made her back down or you won the case. No, nigga. You didn't win the case in Chicago against Miss Layla Wills. It was all strategic, fuck nigga. She made you spend money that you didn't have. She made you go up and down from Park in Arkansas to Chicago, Illinois, back and forth, all through the winter. She had you doing that shit for a year. She made you have to.
So as you can see, anything I'm saying in the paperwork, I'm showing. So you can't say he lied. I'm coming with the receipts. You don't want to hear the receipts because you don't want to hear the truth. That there's a boy probably out there dead and nobody cares about it but me and my affiliates. The people that join my Facebook group and other people that have a line with me.
TC Islam's murder has way more ramifications than just being used in a civil case against me, but also, as Hassan Campbell has made claims that Afrika Bambaataa, Ahmed Henderson, and him were co-defendants in an unsolved murder. Hassan Campbell also stated in the public that he spoke to TC Islam the night before his murder, and it should be noted that TC Islam was said to be hiding in Atlanta from the Universal Zulu Nation for previous death threats before he was murdered in Atlanta. Hassan Campbell, in an interview with Murder Master Show Music Show, Hassan Campbell not only stated that TC Islam told him the night before his murder that he was given Afrika Bambaataa 3 days to speak to him, or that he was going to go public with all the knowledge he had on Afrika Bambaataa as it related to sexual deviance with not only minors, but with known famous hip-hop artist. Hassan Campbell would admit that he was upset with TC Islam, alleging that he felt that TC Islam was more worried about making amends with Afrika Bambaataa and the Universal Zulu Nation as opposed to truly wanting justice for what it was being alleged that Afrika Bambaataa was doing.
You hear that? TC Islam told him, hey, time is running out. Hassan argued with him the night before he was murdered. Another thing about that Murder Master Music or whatever the name of that show is, Hassan said he would go to Atlanta and put some knots on Atlanta native head. Meaning there was nothing to grab a plane, go down to Atlanta and put his hands, gun, knife, or whatever TC was murdered with, on a person and go back to New York City. And who knew that he went out that night and committed what he did? Because he was already telling people, I'm a murderer. I didn't murder people before. What it sounds like to me is that there's a skilled organization out there by the name of the Zulu Nation that get people murdered. They may want to come to Arkansas and try to do something to me, but it ain't that easy, my Zulus. It ain't that easy, my Bloods, because Whack 100 is a part of this too. Khalil Money like to say he's Khalil Money 100. And he threatened Kevin Gillespie with Whack 100. Same way Whack 100 Big Homie threatened Kevin Gillespie with this and that. It sounds like it's an organization out there, the gay mafia or whatever, that's killing people.
Something that stood out in Hassan Campbell's interview about his conversation with TC Islam the night before Islam was murdered is that he claimed he personally was not afraid of any death threats made towards him for his own coming out against Afrika Bambaataa. I say that the statement of no fear made by Hassan Campbell stood out as odd because he would later allege that his whole staying on YouTube as a content creator instead of seeking mental help for his trauma as an alleged victim of Afrika Bambaataa was due to a hit order said to be made against him by the Universal Zulu Nation member, the now also deceased Queen Pepsi. Layla Wills was the last interview that TC Islam did to expose Afrika Bambaataa and the Universal Zulu Nation for being involved with allegations of sex trafficking, extortion, murders, and the cover-ups for over 40 years as the godfather and Amen-Ra of hip-hop.
Now, as you heard Khalil Money say, which DJ K. Slade was a member of the Black Spades and the Zulus, was sex trafficking. Coercion implicated because the victim, whether if you move them or not, you stop them from doing what they wanted to do. You coerce them to stay there and get sexually abused by their abusers. And DJ K. Slade was a part of that, so you know it was going on. You know it was going on. So let's see what we're going to pick this up. I'm doing too much. Forgive me, people. Getting overzealous. Getting overzealous.
TC Islam, the fourth son of the Amen-Ra of hip-hop, as reported in Jungle Dub House Online, was a member of hip-hop's first family. The term Amen-Ra as an Egyptian god is pivotal, as over the years, I have spoken on my platform with people like Prince York, the son of the currently incarcerated Malachi Z. York. I recently uploaded some telephone audio of me and Prince York that is sure to entertain, so check that out. I have spoken much on Neo-Pagan religion and the ties to the new Wapian and Zulu Kemetic Moors. The Amen-Ra connection is a point to make here, as it was members of the conscious community's Amen-Ra squad, affiliate of the House of Consciousness in Sonnetter TV, who called me informing me that Layla Wills was an associate. The call I received from the Amen-Ra founder was asking me to lay off of speaking about Layla Wills, even though it was her who slandered Kev Gills and me on her Facebook page, and then it was her who dragged Kev Gills and me into a false civil court case and got me arrested on false criminal charges. Throughout the back and forth online, star Troy Torrain made statements that Layla Wills was not only a Panther cub or the daughter of Black Panthers in Chicago, but also that she had many relatives who are active members of the street organization O Block. Even if what Star says is true or not about the O Block ties to Layla Wills, I always believe that the strategic lawsuit against public participation done towards me by Layla Wills was to have me placed in the general population of the Cook County Correctional Facility in Chicago. I believe that if my family did not bail me out, it would have been very easy to have O Block, Nation of Islam, or Black Panther affiliate harm me, or even worse, murder me in that jail, or in the least have me set up by prison guards to never come home on more trumped up charges.
I believe they were trying to take my life away. Thank you, Lord God of Israel. Because they weren't playing no games with me. It was strategic.
I know this episode runs deep, but my claims are not far-fetched, as after I was acquitted of the criminal charges and had the civil charges withdrawn, I had a call online while doing a show on YouTube where the caller alleged that he was an actual officer of the court who was present during my appearances in Chicago in the false civil case placed by Layla Wills on me. I beat the false criminal and civil charges on me only by the mercy and the grace of the Lord God of Israel, help from my family, and a few brothers and sisters in Christ who made sure I survived all this.
Yes, thanks to my brother who was there to witness it all.
Sadly, TC Islam was not as fortunate to escape the fate that he met while fleeing Universal Zulu Nation as reported, and thinking that he would be safe while in Atlanta. TC Islam's murder was reported in the Canada Noisy Vice article by Dave Wedge, the writer who interviewed Ronald B. Stringer Savage and Hassan Poppy Campbell about the young teen who stabbed Afrika Bambatawa and Ahmed Henderson. Some excerpts from the Dave Wedge article on TC Islam reads as follows. Less than a month before the 51-year-old rapper was gunned down on an Atlanta street this June, he gave a chilling interview to a documentary filmmaker in which he said he feared for his life. Specifically, he alleged he'd been receiving threats from members and affiliate of the Zulu Nation, the hip-hop and African-American advocacy organization founded in the 1970s by pioneer Afrika Bambatawa. At the time, Chicago-based filmmaker Layla Wills was finishing up a forthcoming documentary called Trapped in a Culture, which details sexual abuse allegations against Bambatawa. Islam, whose real name was Tony Purnell Bell, told Wills he received multiple threats from members of the Zulu Nation after stepping down from the organization in April 2016 and speaking out against its founder.
Who would know it that DJ K Slate died in the April? April is my birth month, and a lot of stuff was taking place in April, which is the beginning of the year, if y'all didn't know. It's God's year.
Though TC Islam was taken while claiming to be fleeing for his life, TC Islam's death, like many other murders of influential figures in hip-hop, may be forever shrouded in mystery of whether his murder was coincidental or if it was part of a more desperate plot to clear Afrika Bambaata's name, as it was alleged by Hassan Campbell that Mickey Benson, Ahmed Henderson, Stanley Bell Islam and others were desperate and had to clear Afrika Bambaata's name while on a telephone conference with star Troy Torain, who was about to break the story to the public of Afrika Bambatawa being involved in pederasty. As we close this episode 2 of Murder Doctrine, featuring the death of TC Islam, we prepare the audience for our next episode, which all ties together with episodes 1 and 2, as we will be discussing the murder doctrine of rapper XXXTentacion. The 6 degrees of separation of the next episode is something you all do not want to miss, as we will show how the murder of XXXTentacion ties to this platform and story of the missing teen alleged stab Afrika Bambatawa and his manager Ahmed Henderson, and the ties of XXXTentacion to the nationally known informant Khalil Amani, and how his death was used to attack me on my platform.
Yes. Somebody's got some. Maybe they'll tell you about it before I tell you about it. So I'm dictating a lot of stuff by speaking. I believe a lot of people want to get out here and tell their story about my story, because this is my life that I'm talking about. These are incidents that I was in. So Sue me if you want to. I'm ready to go to court. Remember, I'm a defendant, not an offensive player. I'm a defensive player.
If you all like this content, hit the like button, share this video, hit the notification for alerts, become a member, and get ready for the release of Murder Doctrine Episode 2, which discusses the death of TC Islam of the Universal Zulu Nation.